gorgeous today. I got something in this eye here that's causing me to squint like a hair or something. I can't get rid of it. Remember Brendan Gleeson in 28 Days Later when the the raven was picking at the zombie corpse and he looked up and the drop of rage blood went into his eye. It was like, but that's a very good film. That 28 Days Later. I suggest you watch it. It's very pertinent. A good word, that pertinent for the age that we live in. And what a fucking age. So, few things to talk about today. Yeah, go see the film. Go watch the film 28 Days Later again. That's basically what this winter is. There seems to be. Oh, by the way, I got a 30-day ban from Facebook again. Interesting. I posted a lot of like controversial stuff in the last 2 days, but the one they banned me for, unless I had a stalk or something reporting, which happens all the time. That I said, what if the whole thing is a gigantic ruse by the globalists or the secret unknowns, who's ever running the whole show at once, to get rid of all the people who are blind followers and keep the ones who are critical thinkers, because they'll say, I'm not taking that needlecraft. Nope, not for me. Where the ones who run out and go, inject me, daddy, I fucking love science. Kills all them off. Didn't Klaus Schwab say in The Great Reset that there was a definite lack of critical thinkers because science had not advanced, and university had just pumped out idiots for the last 30 years who can memorize things but can't invent anything, and that they wanted a society of critical thinkers. That's why I often think, I look at that, that Georgia Guidestones, and I often think, if you were going to reduce the population down to 300 million, you wouldn't want 300 I fucking love science or SJW types. So I think maybe that hit a nerve, that one. Someone somewhere knew that one was true and said, pull it. Now there's a lot of more than just anecdotal evidence to back that up. I made a video recently saying that all the SJW and run out and get the transubstantiation of the needlecraft. They would have been the first. They would have been the first to go out. And, the SJWs as a political statement to prove that they weren't right-wing fascists, because that's what people question the needlecraft and the whole thing are all, in their minds, ultra-right-wing fascists. So they would have went out as a political statement. And then the other ones would have went out because, they fucking love science. And they have to prove how clever they are. By the way, you don't trust science. You don't trust it. If you trust science, you don't know what science is. This is what's ironic about these assholes. And YouTube has also removed the numbers of thumbs down, which is, we have them running scared. Let's be honest, folks. We have them running scared. If they have to constantly watch me and others on Facebook, if they have to ban people, if they have to remove the numbers of thumbs down on videos, they're frightened. They're shocked. It's shock. And what's really, see, what happens is, if you're Joe Normie, right, and you watch the TV news, and there you are watching it, and you're being told all this stuff, and then you go on to, say, YouTube, where you see a clip of the TV news broadcast you just watched, and you assume was true, and you see it has 50,000 thumbs down and 2,500 thumbs up, you're going to go, why are far more people against this, what I just saw on the news, than are for it? You see, they don't want that. It's like when the digital passes were brought in Ireland. The videos were massively thumbed down. So all the governments, and you look at Let's Go Brandon's videos, all of Joe Biden's, all of Chow Beijing's videos are all massively thumbed down. And that was the reverse of Donald Trump, but they're all massively thumbed up. And they just don't want people knowing the reality of the world, because the reality of the world, but it also frightens them because it shows them that we're still feral animals. We can think for ourselves. But I think that instead of them saying, what they're trying to do is like say, let's just get rid of let's get the biggest idiots on earth to sacrifice themselves. The educated idiots are the biggest idiots on earth. The ones who say trust the science, because they know nothing about science, and if they did, they wouldn't say trust the science because that's how science works. But you look at the types, like there's a lot of posts now by like people going on about, the last tweet was, I just got my last shot, I just got my last needlecraft, I feel great, I don't feel like I have a microchip inside me, like slagging off people. Like there was one guy there, he's a doctor I think, and he said, if you don't get needlecraft and you die, I certainly won't cry at your funeral. And then the next post was he got his booster. No, it's a booster. What can I call booster? Rooster. Foghorn leghorn. Okay, that's what the third one is called, the foghorn leghorn, right? So he got his foghorn leghorn. He got his foghorn leghorn, right? And dropped dead. And there seems to be a lot of kind of smug types. It's almost like they're being burlesqued by the globalists by saying, like the way, well, isn't it a classic resolution though? The ones who support the state, who support the revolution, the useful idiots in this case, the SJWs, the IFLS, and these smug academic types, are the ones they've all killed off. Isn't it a classic? Isn't it a classic revolution? It's just like Pol Pot. When the Year Zero thing was announced, they asked people in Cambodia to come forward to help build the state, and all these ones came forward. Uh, Academics, misty-eyed, bright-eyed, and bushy-tailed types, and the Khmer Rouge killed them all because they're not free-thinking people. They're not. Sorry, they're not. They're not people who you can control. Not that's the word. They're not people who can never be satisfied because they're idealists. See, this is why idealists can never be satisfied. See, an idealist and a fascist are very close together. And someone who's an idealist can never be satisfied. Even if you give them the ideal utopia that they want, they're still never satisfied. So that's why idealists are often used to build a revolution up and then kill them off. And we've seen that when he would pretty much the Obama crowd, like 10 years ago, whenever he won his first election, they were completely idealizing him, like he was a god who was going to save the world. And that's who you get rid of first. You get rid of all those types. That's another thing too. As the parallel society becomes more and more integrated and more, into our minds, into our hearts, into our souls, be very careful you don't get led into cults. And by cults I mean some guy or woman in the countryside has a big house saying, "Oh, come and live with me." And next thing you know, they take their passports off you, and they take your national insurance card away from you, social security card away from you, and your driver's license and your other ID, and they say, it's so bad out there in the world, we're better off all in here, doing what I say. Be very careful of that. Don't be lured. Don't be lured into living in alternative communities. By all means, people who inspire you, whether it be people online, myself and others, John Waters, people who say things and they inspire you, David Icke and so on. In this time, yes, take that into your heart, but don't become anyone's pet. So just take what people like me and others say into your heart and walk away and get on with your life. Don't let, it's just, the wary thing is when someone tries to tell you, you must come and live with me, you must do what I say, you must do this exactly. Anyone does that, give them that, okay? It's one thing to be inspired, it's another thing to be led. And in this parallel society, you need to be inspired, not. And there's loads of people inspire me, and so be very careful. There's going to be lots of cults starting up. Again, like the 28 Days Later. Remember the Christopher Eccleston, the guy from Doctor Who? He had a cult of soldiers in the big house. Remember that? And he said, "I promised them women." Yeah, be very careful that you don't fall into anything like that. And you know, usually these things do happen at times like this. This whole sovereign citizen freeman of the land is a classic cult thing. You know, it's always usually some person, some gobshite at the centre, who gets people thinking he's going to stop me. He's going to stop me from paying my mortgage. He's going to get me. I'm going to get all this. I'm going to take over the government. Blah blah blah. I'm a sovereign citizen. Oh look, it's all caps, blacklisting, and then all their lives are destroyed, and he vanishes, like the monorail salesman in The Simpsons. I've been to Shelbyville, and you know that's a Shelbyville idea. But yeah, so you know, it's an interesting point we're at now. I think definitely the days when anyone who was shot down, anyone who said something not right about this whole pandemic thing, the days of them being shot down on comments on social media are gone, and it's actually gone the whole full circle. If you see someone like when Irish government makes an announcement and someone says it's a good idea, they're usually attacked now. It's amazing how it's come full circle. That's because a lot of the ones who were like laughing at people. How are you, John? How are you, Jimmy? I fucking need you. What do you mean? Leo says we do. Leo, Tony, Steve-O, they all. What do you want? They say. They're all dead now. Most of them are dead, or they're cognitively wrecked from especially the foghorn leghorn. So you have the initiative. You have the initiative needlecraft number one. Then you have the opening of the gate, needlecraft number two, and then the foghorn leghorn. Uh, that seems to be the one that's finishing them all off. Although other ones have gone, the other ones have been transubstantiated into the new reality, into their next lives by the first one. That's another thing too. When I was on with Sonia Poulton yesterday, if you haven't seen the videos just below this one, and go over to her channel and subscribe to it. I'll probably be on that program a lot more often. Uh, oh, what did I was going to say? I forgot what I was going to fucking say. Come back to me. Yeah, but it's the foghorn leghorn seems to be what's wiping them all out. Now, those, like I said, some of them have gone down because of the initiative one. Oh yeah, I know what I was going to say. I mentioned a few times now, and when I was on with Sonia yesterday, that if you're taking RNA augmentation, and it's an awful betrayal to your ancestors, because they carried that DNA, regardless of what your ethnic background is, from the ancient proto humanoids right to your very presence, and they suffered and worked and hard. You're, like I said, you're a product of 1,000 loves and a million heart and a million pains and suffering, and a million struggles, and you're betraying them by giving your heritage soup, your very essence, over to these corporations. And that I've been thinking about that lately, in regards to the needlecraft. It's like I think you can get away with one or two, but you'll never get away. If you go for the third one, the foghorn leghorn, you're completely fucked, because that's the one that either kills you or totally makes you their asset. It's the foghorn leghorn that does that one. But in regards to stewardship of your heritage soup, I mean, this is it, you exist because of many people's pains and suffering in the past, and now these corporations who make the ping pongs and the foghorn leghorn are now going to own that. They're going to exclusively take it from you. Ooh, not good, is it? It's not good at all. But people being what they are, they don't think about it that way. They've been told not to think that their lives are precious. They had like years of conditioning from Richard Dawkins and David Attenborough and now Brian Cox. Hello, I'm Brian Cox. He looks like a fucking... Someone put a high voltage cable up his arse. But The fakest, smug fucking smile. Most punchable fucking face I've ever seen. Uh, Jesus. And a pure globalist, bullshitting fucking toe rag. Brian Cox. The big fucking fake smile. Big fucking fake smile. Looks like a shit is about to come out of his mouth. And he's got fucking constipation. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Brian Cox. He can stick his telescope in me anytime. Oh, microscope, more like. But yeah, I've been talking to someone at the supermarket as well. There's food shortages coming in. They're building an Aldi at the end of my street. A big Aldi at the end of my street. Not Aldi, yeah, Lidl. I like Lidl. And they got planning permission. I know that the people who own the land that sold it to them, and the site, and they own a big hardware stuff there, and Lidl are going to build them a smaller, more bespoke hardware shop, and then they're going to build their new departments, the new shop, a big one, a big Lidl, not the little small ones, a big one, on the spot. And I'm thinking, oh, that's good. That's good for the town and create a few jobs. I like Lidl. They've got like good, cheap, quality groceries from around Europe. And then it says the shop is expected to be opened in the next 2 years. What? I've seen Lidl's go up. I saw the Lidl in Ballina go up literally in 2 weeks. It was a building site. There was nothing there. And then there was the crews moved in. And in a couple of weeks, the doors are open and people are shopping. And now you're telling me that this one is 2 years. Very sus, isn't it? Why a brand 2 years? And what does that tell you? Supply chain issues. They're securing the land so they can have their store there. But they also know that they're not going to be able to open the store because they won't have the stock for it for a couple of years. Read them through the lines of everything like you hear like that. Because I've seen Lidl's, like I said, I saw the one in Ballina go up like that. And I'm sure where you live, Lidl's fly up like real fast. Real fast. I hear people say there's going to be a massive less of us. What does Christian Morris call it? The pyramid scheme? Or something like that. And I think there is, but I don't think it's going to be as catastrophic as what they say. As what some people are predicting. It'll be a specific demographic thing. It'll be like those ethnic weapons that were developed by the South Africans that could kill people of certain races. Israel did the Israelis did the same too. There was a weapon that could kill certain races. Only I don't know how it worked, but that's their weapon of mass destruction. The needlecraft kills all the smug assholes in the SJW first, and the IFLS, and leaves the critical thinkers. A lot more traffic on the roads today now. I haven't seen the ambulances have slowed down. I don't see as many ambulances as I did. Against the initial rush of slaughter has taken place, and I just think the ones out there now are the last of the idiots. This may even be an indication that many people are not taking foghorn leghorn. You may have given them the initiation one. You may have given them the gates opening one. That's gates two ways, GATE and GATS. And they said, fuck that, I'm not getting the foghorn leghorn. And that's why you don't see many as the ambulances on the roads as you did a few weeks ago. Anyway, we'll check out The Week in Strange this Monday on Beyond Room 313 and observe, watch, take care. For your eyes only.